Welcome to another episode of Heated Conversations. I'm excited to have another current athlete, on the podcast. We have the University of Georgia, Naya Howard. She's a sophomore at the University of Georgia's gymnastics program. Welcome, Naya. How are you?
Thanks. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very good, very good. How's the season going so far?
It's going really good. I think we are starting off very strong, and especially with our team culture, it's really reflecting even into our gymnastics as a team. And the more we're working with each other, the more we're understanding and the more we're producing.
That's good. Very, very good. Now, Naya, where are you from? Are you originally from Georgia, or where is home for you?
I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm actually from Long Island, New York, but I moved to Virginia after.
Cool. How long were you in Virginia?
I kind of grew up in Virginia. So kind of like my whole life almost.
Okay, very cool. And what gymnastics club did you go to?
I went to Ocean Gymnastics,
Very cool. And what city is that in?
Chesapeake and Virginia Beach. You have two gyms.
Oh, okay. Awesome, awesome. Now let's talk about your career as a club gymnast. What were some of the highlights that you had during your club career, and what was your favorite event?
I think some of my highlights were being able to make nationals my first year, level 10, and improving on throughout the years of level 10. I think another highlight was when I was getting looked at by colleges. That was very exciting. Even though I was young and didn't really know what was going on, but I know it was something good. My favorite event is bars. I can swing bars all day.
Very cool, very cool. Now, how many years level 10 were you during club?
So I started when I was 13 and I did like 12 into 13, so I did 5 years level 10.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, what is gymnastics like in Virginia? Is it pretty competitive? Did you have to travel a lot to kind of get to competitive gymnastics? Where did you compete a lot?
So we actually tried to go to a lot of Nastia Cups. Also we traveled, but we traveled within like the East Coast more. Also it was pretty competitive. It wasn't to where like it wasn't like you weren't able to compete and that like it was too hard. It was like right in the middle. So I feel like it was a fair amount of competition
Yeah,
around that area.
very cool. Very, very cool. Now, as we talked about, you're now a sophomore at the University of Georgia. Can you talk about your process of getting to Georgia, what that looked like, your recruiting process? What were some of the schools that were interested in you, and why you chose Georgia?
So actually I went to a lot of like recruiting, like things for gymnastics, whatever. And Georgia was actually one of my first colleges that were interested in me. And I didn't really know Georgia honestly had a gymnastics team because I was like really, really young and I still didn't understand college gymnastics. I just knew that when I watched it, I enjoyed it and I wanted to be like them. Um, I had a lot of interest from Penn State, Bama, Maryland, a lot of like, big, small D1, of course, SEC, LSU, Florida, like your typical. I feel like I chose Georgia. Really couldn't even tell you because I never went on a visit when I committed, and I committed my freshman year of high school. And I never changed my mind. I never decommitted, never questioned it. Went on my official visit my senior year, loved it, glad I chose it, and the rest is history, honestly.
Yeah. So going from your freshman year to your senior year, were there different coaches when you committed as a freshman, and then when you went on your official visit? Can you even talk about the experience being on that visit with those coaches?
So yes, there were different coaches. And they were mainly recruiting Jason and Josh. And Jason was like my main recruiter. He took me from George Washington to here. Uh, I'm very sad to see him go, but life changes, new opportunities. Um, so I think my visit was very intentional. I knew some girls on the team already. I made connections, new connections. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the football atmosphere. I just enjoy it, honestly, like watching athletes congregate together outside of gymnastics. I think that was one of my favorite parts, just knowing different athletes at the school and being able to like make those connections as well. I feel like is an important thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's very important. Now, your current staff, who makes up your current staff? And can you talk a little bit about your relationship with each individual coach?
So Courtney, Kubet's Carter is my coach. Ryan Roberts is assistant coach. Molly Korth is my assistant coach. And Sam Wellborn is my assistant coach. I all have different relationships with them. I think Courtney has shaped me into a better person by looking at different perspectives of like different cultures, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Being able to just learn people more and
yeah,
experience different things and get out of my comfort zone.
yeah,
I was way out of my comfort zone when I first was a freshman, and now I feel like I am better as a person.
yeah,
Ryan, I actually would was considering Bama because of Ryan. But I'm really glad that he's here now. Ryan, that's my man. That's
yeah,
Ryan now. Like I love Ryan. He just knows how like where he stands with different people and how to talk to certain people and like knows how to engage with that and also coach, especially with the people that really, really want to work and really sees that they got it in them to, do their best. I think he's very trustworthy as well. Like I could come to him for anything. Molly, even though she's new this year, as an assistant coach, I kind of look at her as like somebody I want to be when I grow up. I want to get out of college like she did graduate and be a college coach.
yeah,
Even though she's really young, like she does a super good job at managing like the friend status and a coaching status. Um, with Sam, I love Sam to death. He came in middle of the year last year as an interim assistant coach. He he's just so fun. He's such a dad. He's such a
yeah,
dad. And I really couldn't ask for a better coaching staff and how they interact with each other.
yeah. Now let's talk about your teammates. What is the environment as a team? And I know you mentioned culture when you're talking about how your practices have been going and stuff like that. How is the culture within the team in regards to the girls?
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about this year or last year? Oh,
You can talk about both.
okay. Last year I feel like I'm not gonna lie, we struggled a little bit with it, but we came back on board, and I feel like it helped this year to know what we wanted for the team and what we didn't want for the team. So far, it's going really well. Um, Everybody has their own talents, their own perspective, own opinion, but somehow on this team this year, we all find a way to agree with each other and make sure everything gets done. And I really, really love our culture.
Love it. Now, when you also talk about culture, is that something that you guys as athletes have developed, or is that something that your coaches have really been intentional about and making sure that you guys have a cohesiveness to you guys and have, a certain identity so you guys can really thrive as a program?
So I'm gonna say like it's neither one because we're a team,
Yeah.
which our perspective of team is togetherness, enthusiasm, um, like all that stuff, right? And I think all that comes apart and makes us a union, if that makes sense, like
Yeah.
unbreakable. So I think us being on the same page about how we feel about team culture makes up our team culture, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's everybody together, just coming together of actually know what the real definition of culture is outside of a team, which is building our team.
Right. No, absolutely. I think that's great. And what are some of the things that you look forward to for this upcoming season with your team and based off of the practices that you've had so far? Because I know you had mentioned off camera that practice has started, your official practice started September 18th. So being together as a team only has been a couple weeks. So from what you've seen, what are some of the things that you're excited about in this preseason, also looking forward into season?
I'm excited that we have almost the full team ready on each day. So I feel like that's rare, and every little thing counts. Back down the team culture all the way up. People win without team culture, but we feel like we win when we are together. So I'm just really excited about watching the freshmen perform. I know that was me last year, and it was a heavy moment. It's just really nice to reflect back on what I did and watching other people like achieve their dreams as well.
Yeah, no, that's very good. Now, you also mentioned that bars is your favorite event, right?
Mm-hmm.
What events are you planning to compete or you know, striving to compete for Georgia? And what events did you compete in last year?
I am striving to compete all around this year. I'm upgrading my ball to one half now. So I'm in the 10 club ball or whatever. Last year I competed all around, all meets but Auburn, the rest of me on floor. Um, I know that I think I'm like the first person to compete as much as I did last year since Courtney,
Oh, wow.
honestly. Yeah.
Very
And
good.
the first person to compete all around since 2017.
Nice. Great job. What were some of your
Thank you.
personal highlights from last season?
Getting a 992 on ball and bars. Um, just honestly, being in there in the moment with my team. Like, I know, like, there's a lot of individual awards and stuff, but like, just being on my team is like really special to me. Like, cause
Yeah.
I want, like, I know they just have my back.
Yeah. Very good. Now, do you have a pretty good support system outside of gymnastics, like at home? Do you have, your parents who are super supportive and siblings who are super supportive
Mm.
or friends that are super supportive?
Yes, like a lot. Like, my parents were at every home meet. My mom next year is going to every away meet, like
Nice.
trying to alternate back and forth. I'm really just grateful for like the atmosphere I'm in and like the influence I give off to people because like it's hard out here, but like it's worth it. So
Yeah.
um, I'm just really grateful to have a great support system, like whether it's academics or just my family for
Yeah.
gymnastics.
Yeah. Now, being away from home as well, how is Athens as a town? Do you enjoy Athens as a town, outside of the university or even, Athens, also involving the university?
So I really like Athens. It's really different because it's a small town. I didn't grow up in a small town. I also like didn't really grow up in like the country. I feel like this is kind of country, but I grew up like in the suburb city-ish area. So it's definitely a different change and it's manageable. Like when I go home, I miss it. Like dang, I kind of miss Athens. Like, but I wouldn't live here though. I need to live like somewhere in the city or something.
Yeah.
But I really like it as a college town. Like I feel like the University of Georgia makes up Athens. Like I really like it.
Yeah. And what are some of the things you like to do on campus outside of gymnastics? Like what, social things do you like to do? Do you like going to sporting events or do you like hanging out with friends? And is there enough things in Athens for you to do when you're not having to do your studies academically or at practice or have, things related to your team stuff?
There's a good variety of things. Like a little downtown area. But I feel like a lot of people go to Atlanta for like the aquarium, the zoo, like Coca-Cola factory, like stuff like the attraction of like Georgia. I typically am so tired. So like I kind of sleep. I go to sporting events too though. I like to get my nails done. I like to go shopping, but I sleep as much as I can because I wake up at 6 a.m. every day except Sunday.
Oh, wow. And you also
Yeah.
mentioned you have 6 classes that you're taking. Now, what's your
hmm
major at Georgia?
My major is communications and I'm minoring in educational technology.
Very cool. What do you want to do with that? Because I know you said you would like to be a college coach, but if you're just thinking about your degree, what would you ideally want to do with that?
I want to be a learning specialist for student athletes at a university.
Very cool. Now, would you pair that up? Would you do that first, or would you go and try to pursue coaching?
I want to pursue coaching first.
Cool. Now, do you think what you're learning, especially with communications, are able to help you in your coaching endeavors and your pursuit of coaching, especially how to speak to athletes and even regards to media stuff and how to be able to best put yourself in a position, like even in the way you're talking right now seems very mature, right? The way that the conversation is going, where sometimes, being young, you may not really know how to talk to, media people or even talk to adults, because sometimes you're just in a mindset of you're still a young adult or a young, kid, especially if you're coming into school as a freshman or even just sophomore and haven't learned those skills yet. Do you feel that your degree will help you be able to teach your future athletes how to do that, especially at the collegiate level?
I do believe I can help. I've just learned because I'm already like naturally socially active when it comes to talking. But communication, I think, helped me professionally and like be really intentional about how I speak to people. Um, and I think communication is more about just speaking and all that body language gestures, like how you interact with other people, just learning their gestures sometimes when they come across towards you, and like especially new relationships. So I feel like that's a really big effect on the team in general because you have new people coming onto a team and sometimes they're shy, sometimes they don't know when to fit in, but like I feel like it's less fun to actually like engage with them and learn them and actually have a relationship with them will like help a lot.
Yeah. And what were some of your fears or nerves coming into college gymnastics, if you had any at all?
This is bad. This is probably bad. I didn't have any, and that's probably why I was a little stubborn when I came in. But I think towards like when I started getting moving, school, I'm not really a school person. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could just get my degree and run with it, but I can't. So it would probably be school.
Yeah. Now, is there a pretty good support staff there, like tutors, and
Mhm.
are your coaches pretty good at having, you guys get academic help, and is the academic help supportive for student athletes and even just students?
Yeah. So it's not required here to have study hall, or, a tutor unless you really, really need it and your grades like determined on it or like it's showing you need it. I personally need it because I know if I go home and do homework, I'm not gonna do it. So, I actually just came from study hall today. It was an hour long and I actually got 3 quizzes done. So like I think it's very useful, that we're able to have a voice and say like I need to do more study hall or I don't need to do study hall anymore. So I think it's a little more freedom than most schools have when it comes to study hall. And I kind of like that freedom sometimes because the only time they tell you you have it if your grade is showing that you need it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And I want to also talk about your, going back to even just your relationship with Courtney and with the team. What is
Mhm.
what does she do like for you personally? I know you mentioned she helps you see
Mhm.
different perspectives and see things like that, but how does she cast her vision and how do you guys capture the vision as student athletes or just athletes to be able to really, you know, move with intentionality when you guys are in practice or even when you're thinking about season?
I would say effective communication, being on top of things, knowing when something's wrong and like, mentioning in a respectful way to try to fix it so it doesn't happen again. Also, having individual meetings helps a lot. I know we just had one. We were long overdue for one, but just to just get my feelings and thoughts out and just know how to maneuver better as a person and individually.
Yeah. And you feel pretty supportive from your coaching staff and your head coach.
Yes.
That's good. I think that's super important. Because even in this process, I want to have people be able to know that, these personnel, like the head coaches at programs, are really about the athletes and about the people, not just the product that they're doing. And knowing,
Right.
you personally talking highly about your head coach and your staff and the things that they're doing for you and how they care about you and trying to help you be a better person and not making it about just the gymnastics or even just
Right.
about their own journeys where Courtney was you know a spectacular athlete, especially at Georgia, right? And sometimes we could feel the pressure of having to walk, in those shoes or feel like we have to live up to this expectation or feel as though sometimes people may make it about the success they had and for you too. But from what I'm seeing and from what I know in my personal relationship with Courtney, it seems like it's genuinely about your journey, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and not about what she accomplished there and trying to mimic that, but what is Naya's journey in, her time at Georgia? How can we make her the best gym dog possible, right?
Right.
And
I agree.
I want, athletes, especially recruitable athletes, to see those things and to know, and their parents to know those things and know that, there's coaches out there and many coaches out there that really care about the athletes first. And in
Mm-hmm.
doing so, will create a great product, right? And even like you
Right.
said, I know Ryan personally, and Ryan, um, he is tough in regards to what he expects, right? He expects the best out of you, but at the same time, I know that he really, really does genuinely care about each person, and really wants to be able to challenge you to be able to get to your best gymnastics, but also get to your best opportunities in life.
Right.
And he's such an advocate for his athletes, like huge advocate, right?
I
And I know,
agree 100%.
oh yes, he's a huge advocate for it and will fight tooth and nail for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to, read him just because he seems like he's always serious, right? But
Mm-hmm.
deep down inside, he has such a huge heart. And I think you're in good hands with that
Mm-hmm.
staff, from my time there and just even my relationship with Ryan. And super excited for what you guys are gonna do. What is one of the competitions that you look forward to every season? Is there a competition versus a certain team? Is there a rival competition that you really look forward to? Can you talk about those?
Um, I say Bama, that's our rival, and we always joke Ryan about it because he came in. Actually, it was really funny when they came here for a home meet. We had the same warm up because Ryan just came from there. So we were doing the same thing. But that's one of my favorite rivalries. It's just like, it's always been a rival, Georgia and Bama. It's really fun. I'm really excited to go to Bama this year and kill it.
Yeah, no, very good. Well, what what is one thing you could leave, the either the viewers, listeners, or even what advice would you have for recruits coming up? Like, what are some things that you would advise them in their process of looking at colleges, or even when they get to college? What are some things that they should probably do when they get there?
Know that you're doing this for yourself. Also know that you want to go somewhere that you're going to love for the next 4 years. You don't want to go somewhere that's miserable. And always ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask the girls, how their relationship is with their coach. I think a lot of people leave that out and they just kind of watch the coach interact with like the athlete. But it's a process and you have to be patient. Um, I really consider you also being able to weigh out your options. Don't commit to something just because you like one thing out of school. Make sure that you like everything that gymnastics. This is the key part for me. That my gymnastics matched that school, and I knew that that's how I do my style of gymnastics.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Naya, for joining us and
No
talking about
problem.
University of Georgia and your current experiences there. Good luck this year and kill it.
Thank
And
you.
and for the viewers and listeners, thank you again for tuning in and hearing another testimony of a current athlete at the University of Georgia. And I want to continue doing these. And for recruitable athletes, feel free to be able to reach out to some of these. I'm sure they'll be open for you to kind of have conversations with them, to talk about the process. And even if certain schools are of interest to you, having connection with them and reaching out to them through social medias, where I'll link in to the bio, and follow them this season. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Heated Conversations.